You are now listening to True Warrior Football Podcast. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are now listening to True Warrior Football Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Kid Smith, and we are back after another great Warrior victory this past Friday. You know what? I'm not going to spend very much time on this because when you play teams that you expect to beat and you go out there and execute and perform like you should, then that's what I expect us to always to do with every team. But when we do that with teams like North Central, you don't need to spend much time on it, okay? So, but, you know, one thing I will say is they were feisty. They had some questionable plays and acts in the game that ended up getting one of our star players ejected from the game, which is just a terrible, terrible thing. But you know what? That person, and I'll go into that later when I bring on my special guest today. We'll talk about that later, but I don't really want to talk about that. I know last week I played a radio call from the Trinity game, and I thought about doing that for this week's game. But you know what? I don't need to really do that for this one because here's how it would sound. Jaden George touchdown. 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 And finally, Jaden George touchdown. Yes, that is correct. Our star quarterback, the son of NFL number one overall draft pick, former NFL number one draft pick, Jeff George, and the brother to Jeff George Jr., Jaden George, the first guest I had on this show, actually. He came through in a major way, set the tone. He broke the school record for touchdown passes in a game with 7. He also broke his father's passing yards record for a game with 427, I believe. 427 yards, 20 for 29. And you know what's crazy? His passes that night, it was almost not even, all those touchdown plays weren't even, what's the best way to say this for me? As great as he was, there was a pass in the game that was really better that he didn't throw, okay? Now, in the game, you know, we decided to mix it up a little bit. So we're deep in our own half, 4th and 11. And you know what? Sometimes when you're preparing for an opponent, you like to throw some tricks in there for them, you know. Tricks are for kids sometimes. Well, you got to make sure a lot of your opponents are staying on their P's and Q's, make sure they're prepared for what could possibly come down the line. So we decided, and a big shout out to the special teams unit that was able to execute this play to perfection. Randy Wells, okay? Our punter came out and threw a beautiful pass to David Bell. Once again, David Bell making plays is like, it goes together like peanut butter and jelly. I don't know what else to really say. I mean, the man does things that no other person can do out there. And David goes up, skies the ball, catches the defender off guard before the play, skies the ball, gets it, and literally almost takes the ball to the house. I think he gets downed at like the 2-yard line, but he outraces like 8 North Central defenders, making them look absolutely silly. Absolutely silly. And I want to do the radio call, but the radio call wouldn't do it justice, truthfully. You really need to see the video of this play. Like, it is truly astounding. Now, we've ran some trick plays before to get first downs and stuff, but to have it work that well where you're like on your own 32 and you're able to get a really good fake pass or fake punt and pass the ball to your star player, and that star player can take it all the way down to a 2-yard line, that's saying something. And that did result in a touchdown a few plays later. So, we took care of business. Final score was Warren Central a lot, North Central a little. So that's all you need to know right there about that. And so now this week we have it's, I don't want to call them a rival because that's giving them too much credit, truthfully. Because North Central, they like to think of themselves as our rival. They're not our rival. Carmike thinks of themselves as our rival. They're a conference rival. They're not our true rival. LC lately, it really started off with Coach West when he built that program. He built it into something that had its legitimacy, and his 2012 team was able to prove that by actually going and winning state. But this LC team that we're facing this weekend for homecoming, they have legitimacy. Like they came, or no, what, we came to them last year, and they smacked us in the mouth. Pretty good. And, we are going to come out this Friday and prove that we are the number one team in the state. And you know what? Iron sharpens iron, and that is how we're going to sharpen iron, because they are a tough team. Don't let it fool you. They are a tough team. They're coming in with the mindset, we beat these guys, we can do it again. But they're coming to the east side, baby. The far east side. The far east side. They're coming home. They're coming to our home. And we just don't let anybody come into our home and smack us around. No. Not on my watch. Not up in here. Not in here. So they want to be seen as our rival. And no. The rival comes next week, September 14th. And I'm going to get to talking about that with my guest later. But one thing I want, to all the people that are out there listening to this, former Warrior Legends, if you are able to, I want you to come out next Friday, September 14th. I need you all to be out there. I want to get as many former legends out there supporting our boys. This team right here, they're on the hunt. They are on the hunt. They are ready to roll. I'm doing this for all of us, not just them, but for older generations to come out there and see, oh man, these boys are really out there. Hey, they're wearing that jersey, those colors with pride. The pride that so many before them wore and went out there each and every game night and performed to the best of their abilities. They're honoring you guys by taking care of business on the field. So I want you guys to come out there and support them. Next Friday night, September 14th, I need as many people out there. I have a goal in mind, and I'll talk about that goal later when I bring on my guest, but I have a goal in mind, all right? I want to see as many people out there as possible. I'm promoting it right now. So please, clear your schedule. Make sure you're being there, all right? Because next week's game is, oh, man, I'm getting excited just talking about it. Forget this team that we're playing this week. We'll talk about them in a moment. But next week is what I really want. I'm not overlooking the team that we're playing now, but you know what? Oh, man, when I talk about this team and I talk about how they feel, how they make me feel, man, oh, man. Y'all just don't understand. You just don't understand. If you're listening to this and you do know me and you do understand who we're playing next week, then you already know how I feel, because I know you feel that same way, especially those people that listen that were on my defense. They were a part of defense with me. Those guys know. Those guys were out there when 76-7 happened. They were out there when 34-0 happened. They were out there when 27-26 happened, or 31-33 happened. Not 31-33, excuse me, 31-13. They were out there when number 7 was running up and down the field on them like it was crazy, like it was going out of style. But he was doing it because it had to be done. And it had to be done so we can get over the hump. Now, North Central, they're coming to the east side, the far east side, for the first time. Well, I won't say the first time. They're coming there for this season. Last year, they smacked us in the mouth, like I said. I think it was like 35-28, something like that, a touchdown game. But you know what? That was the first game. No, it wasn't the first game. It was the second out of, what was it, 4 games? Our first 4 or 5 games that we had played last season, where defensively we did not do things defensively like we should have. And it was after that rough start where we got off to 2-3 record, we first started to turn things around. And I've talked to Coach Mann and Coach Clark, Coach Wesley, and they know this team that we're facing. They know what they're about to bring. They know it. They said to the team yesterday. So these guys, they're coming here. They mean business. But we mean business too. We didn't just go all the way down to Trinity 2 weeks ago just to come back and get him, just to get embarrassed. No. As y'all saw, we meant business. We fought hard in that game, fought really hard in that game. Came out on top, victoriously. Last week, had people talking smack. They weren't talking smack at the end of the game. After we racked up all those yards on 500 yards of offense, they weren't talking smack like that after the game. No. They weren't talking smack like that at all. And I ain't gonna, no. This team that's coming in here this week, they better not be talking smack. Not on our field. Because you talk that smack, you get smacked. I'm gonna set the tone this week. Setting the tone this week for next week. All right? Now I'm gonna let y'all go right now, and then for a brief break, then we come back with my guests. And then, I can't wait, because this guy right here, he's gonna bring it. We got a former Warrior legend coming in, and I'm very glad to have this man on the show.
This is Romeo Elliott, running back for Warren Central Warriors, and you are listening to True Warrior Football Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I want to welcome my guest, one of the first guests I've had on the show that is not a current player, a former, what I like to call Warrior legend, guys that have been through the program in the past and then done so much for the program. Guest, introduce yourself for the people out there.
Damn, that's kind of humble. I wouldn't say I'm a legend, but most people know me as D. Smith, formerly number 90, class of 08. So it's always good to, come back and rep the team, rep the colors in the program, because, it seems like we're still on that national spotlight.
Oh, absolutely. We're still definitely on a national spotlight level. And, you say you don't think of yourself as a legend, but you know what? A lot of people people can be modest in their own means. I don't think of myself like that, but people always say that to me.
I think you're much more legendary to the program than me.
well, you know what? We can agree, disagree. You were actually the guy out there, putting on the pads, strapping up, actually going out there. You say you were 90. You were a defensive lineman. That's correct.
Yeah,
Defense, baby. Go always gotta love defense. And you know
gotta
that's
love gotta love dark side.
I mean, come on now. I want now tell me what's when you were out there, all right, and you were playing, let's see, your senior season, we won the MIC.
Right.
Yeah, we won the MIC. We had some tough games that year. But what was it like? Tell me a little bit about your experiences and what you remember from not just your senior season, but really all your career here and strapping on the pads, putting on the black and gold. Tell me about your experience and what you remember there.
I actually think, after going through 4 years in the program, 3 of those years being nothing but winning, I think we lost in that 3 year span, maybe like 2 games. It builds you up to feel like you can't be touched. So then going into my senior year, we weren't as talented as some of the other teams, but we were deep, just as deep. So with that being said, I just think that year was probably the most beneficial to me in all my career, like in a lot of different things, not just football, because we had to learn so much, like on the fly, different transitions, not just on the field, but like all of it was beneficial towards just like as they say, like the program molding men. Like I know a lot of guys who can probably attest to this, but after that senior year, a lot of people just stepped into what they're doing now naturally. It's just crazy how time works.
Yeah, it is crazy.
A lot of guys are training. A lot of guys are, building up their own businesses, and it's kind of, it's like that year they might not agree, but that year kind of shaped, currently what's going on right now.
Yeah, I definitely see that because I know a lot of guys from that time they're coaching, like you said, they're training, they're doing stuff in athletics still right now. Heck, I think we even got a couple of guys that ended up being doctors on that team. So, which is just
definitely
that's crazy, man. It goes to show how guys from the East Side can go and do so many things that a lot of people put there. Once you stay focused and come up with a plan, you follow that plan out. You can take yourself to as far as you want to go.
Well, see, I was in a debate with someone about a week ago about just how talented the East Side is. Like, the people like to think of Warren Central as a football school, but we're really talented in like every area of the school, like academics, band, color guard, wrestling, swimming, golf. It's like the school is so stacked in so many different layers, and just to let you know how vast, talented the East Side is. Like, there are a lot of creative minds on this side of town.
Yeah, and if you aren't on this side of town, you only hear about the negatives, unfortunately, in a lot of aspects, and it's really terrible that so many great things that these guys and ladies are doing once they get out of these halls and out of this building, there is not more credit being shown to them. Like, there's a girl right now that used to be a trainer on the team. She just got hired on with the Minnesota Vikings after spending her time going through college, doing work with the IU and their athletic program. She has just been hired on with the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL to be a trainer, and that's her dream. Like, come on now.
Right.
And she's a woman of color. She's an African-American lady, very, very nice, very intelligent. You just don't
Black
see
girls
those.
rock.
Exactly. Okay. And that's one thing that you just love to see right there is just like people going out there and achieving such great positive things.
Well, I think you can probably attest to this too, just going through the program as well and just seeing what we went through just as players. I know you were more on the administration and prep side for us, but to me, it's like when I got to college, it was easy. It was like I already went through the hardest stuff I could already go through as a player, prepping, and playing for Warren made that like very, very easy.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that same things, like some people have come back and said, the stuff that we did here made it easier for me to excel at the next level because nobody's pushing us how you guys pushed us here. And that just goes to show how, like, that help right there shows you how special that group of players were for that 4, 5, 6 year span.
I actually think it was more so on the coaches. Like a lot of people don't know. I don't know if he could get away with this in this day and age. You know, everyone being all PC and so health crazed. But he trained us to basically go without water. So you know that fourth quarter you're in the game, you don't need to come out because your body is used to it. Now that's very, very dangerous. So I don't think he was maliciously trying to put people in harm's way. But like it's like different tedious tactics that most people might not look at. That's what gave our players the edge. We weren't always more talented or faster or we ran the right plays. It's just like we kind of took it upon ourselves to go out there and make it happen. And then a lot of people and a lot of teams don't look at it that way.
Yeah, the way we went about things, and it's crazy because I see I saw a lot of teams kind of mimic the certain aspects of doing what made us so successful. Now, a lot of people haven't been able to copy that mode all the way quite yet because nobody's really, I just don't see anybody being truly as dominant as what we were. People like to say, well, Cathedral beat you guys' record. Yeah, but Cathedral's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's a lot smaller. I'm not knocking their competition.
No.
Ron Colley's been a beast for years.
Ron Colley had it down. There was a time where Ron Colley and Cathedral didn't play. Could you imagine like Ben Davis and Warren not playing for like 4 or 5 years in a row? Because that's what happened.
That would mean, I guess, football for those fan bases had to be pretty boring.
Exactly. But no, like there are other great programs that, you know, they kind of mimic what we were doing and made successful. Like I don't remember anybody else running the option and running attack like what we do, like what we used to do.
Wing T spread.
And then now you see that for a long time after we were successful with it, a lot of other schools, a lot of smaller schools started doing it more and started having a good amount of success with it. Now they weren't rushing for 500 yards consistently like we were, but they were having success with it and able to actually do things. And you saw that with a lot of schools up north. I think some schools down south tried to do it really, but you know what? We set a great mode for success in that part of the field. And then we had a lot of great people that weren't coaches, academic advisors and teachers that helped the program out. That really helped a lot of those kids.
I actually think those people are, you know, a lot of people give those players homage and praise, which, you know, I guess people see what they see. Those are the actual pillars of the program, you know, believe it or not. You know, the people who deal with the paperwork and, you know, this guy might be getting in trouble or this guy has this family situation, and like those academic advisors and support groups are, you know, what kept us players like focused out there.
There are so many people that came through the program on that side that really helped get so many players just through everyday normal life, because it is, unfortunately, the east side of Indianapolis is a tough place to live, and not everybody has a great home structure, and a lot of people were able to be that solid rock, that solid foundation for a lot of players to rely on and lean on for support. And that's just one of the things that has made what we had so great, because everybody was able to buy in and help out with all aspects of the program.
The best part about the program is the buy-in. It's like whatever was going on Monday through Thursday, you know, everyone's stressed out. We don't care. It's like Friday morning, you know, between, August and November, because most of us are used to playing all the way through November.
Correct.
You just know what time it is, and that's like no greater feeling. Like I've been a lot of places. I've played, you know, post high school, college, semi-pro. Still haven't been able to synthetic a feeling like that. And I think personally for me, that's probably why I lean heavier on the college side of football versus, you know, professional, because it's like the relationships and stuff you build. You get to see see players grow. You get to develop players. You get to see certain people grow into men and women. We're definitely in an age where women are knowledgeable enough to coach football. So,
Absolutely.
I think in the next couple of years, that wouldn't be a surprise to see that coming through on the Warren Central side. I know we might be one of the first to introduce that in the Indiana area, because we're always trying to push the boundaries and expand the idea of an excellent program. And I don't think any other school in the country, maybe a few, but definitely in Indiana, can really say that.
Definitely so, because I know if and people always say, well, how can a girl coach football when she didn't play it? Well, she may not have played it like you have.
You'd be surprised. Like I used to come on off the field, talk to some of my female friend trainers, and they'd be like, hey, you need to do this. This is how I see it. And it's just like, women see things totally different than men. So it's almost like, why not take it in from another perspective? Like, he's going to tell you from a side that he thinks from. She might be telling you from a side that could cater to another side of your ability.
Yeah. And people are like, well, that person never played. Well, I hate to tell you, but sometimes there's a lot of guy coaches out there that didn't coach. Like, take me, for instance. Like, I never truly played football like that. But my time, I've studied a lot of film. I know the things and how they're supposed to be ran and how they're supposed to be executed. Like, I know I can come up with a game plan on game day and really train and get guys, coaching them up throughout the week and throughout the summer to really be efficient playmakers and doing stuff. It's like, if you study the game and you become a student of your craft, there's no way you can't be successful. So I would definitely love to see us open up our coaching staff, our program, to any young lady that wanted to be a part of it and help teach these young men. I don't think it's definitely not going to be easy to be that first one, but you can definitely be the person that opens up the doors for others that come after you.
And I just look at it on the side of, a lot of people don't believe in gender roles, but what I do believe is biology. At the end of the day, as men and women, we're all attracted to the opposite sex. So you might be more inclined to listen to that person who could give you some advice that's, like I say, more beneficial to your career, that could be more successful. Like this is a new age of person. This is a new age of player. It's very hard for people to buy into the whole concept of team all the time. And football is one of those sports where it's 100% team, but you still have to be, a wolf and protect your own interests. But the team is always first. And I think, like I say, in this new age and new era of a lot of things, maybe a female coach can get it done. I think Mia Hamm is on the Arizona Cardinals staff.
Yeah.
She might be a special teams coordinator. Last year, she was just there. Now she's like, okay, you know what you're doing a little bit. And I think that was always the case with her, because, like Mia Hamm has been gears above the curve on what's going on.
Well, I think there's a coach with the Bills, or there was a coach with the Bills last year, and you see what was it? The San Antonio Spurs. Greg Popovich had as I think it's like his second associate head coach. Second tier. That is like amazing. Like, so basically, she is right there going to be the first lady head coach in the NBA in the not too distant future. Like, somebody's going to give her an opportunity. I mean, people from off his staff, people off his staff get jobs all the time. So you mean to tell me this lady right here wouldn't be good enough? But the guys like Fizdale, Coach Yeager, I think, was on his staff. A lot of other guys that have jobs now in the NBA have come off his staff, and they've had success and they haven't had success, but they've been able to get those opportunities because they were under him. So for her to keep getting passed over like that, I just don't see that happening. So somebody's going to eventually give her a shot to be successful at that level.
And most coaches on his coaching tree have been successful. But I got a question for you, since we're talking about coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any person on, I guess I should say it like this, the people who have come back to Warren Central, can you tell, that they care more about the program and its reputation and the players' reputation, like, the guys who coach for us, the guys who come back and coach for us, like, do you see a different level of caring?
Right now, the most people I see caring about the program at the moment are former players that are on the staff, like Coach Humphrey, Kevin Humphrey Jr. I know he cares a lot. Steve McLean cares a lot. Michael Bennell cares a lot. Coach Clark cares a lot. Those are 4 guys right now that I know on the staff. They all came up in the program. They all were a part of those great runs and great teams. So I know they care deeply about the program. At first, when Coach West was hired, I did not know specifically how he would feel about transitioning to a program of our status because, like I said to you earlier before the call started, he was coming from LC. He had the success at LC. They had a good team in 2010 that came over here and beat us. They had another good team the year before he got hired in 2012 that went undefeated, and they won state, and he got hired on. But, he had those good teams, but, it's different when you're at LC compared to being at Warren. Like the pedigree, the history behind our program is like
thoroughbreds over here.
Your rival is
expectations.
Exactly. Your rival isn't Lawrence North, who is like 5 minutes down the road from you. Your rival is 10 miles across the city. They wear purple. We wear black. We wear black and gold. They wear purple.
Our rivals a little bit. Everybody. It's like they used to tell us. It just seemed like people played so much harder because it was us, they got Nike, then we got the Under Armour, and then it's like, all right, this is my chance, it could be scouts here. I gotta make my presence known, coaches coach more aggressively, and that's fine.
Yeah, when you're the top dog for so long, everybody's gonna be like, same thing with Golden State, same thing when Alabama plays. Same thing with when you're playing with the Patriots come to town to play. Those top teams, they've set the pedigree for success for so long. Everybody, anytime that they step onto a field, they're getting that team's best effort. Because if that team knows if they don't give their best effort, they're going to get rolled. They're going to be like, they're going to get beat by 30, 40, 50 points. So they just know you just have to always bring your best effort. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, if you don't, like, just think about it. How many times did you face a team that didn't give their best effort and beat us?
Never. Some teams actually is like, we spend, especially the good teams, a lot of people don't know. If you're good, we gave you your credit because, like, hey, these guys, they come into play. Some teams we spent 2 weeks scouting and putting together our game plans for, and then they come out and they roll out plays we've never seen before.
Yep.
That happens, like stuff that's the coaches never seen, we've never seen, but those teams come to play. Like, they're putting everything on the line because for them, they have nothing to lose, which is actually so good to hear from me. That you actually tell me that the new coach who stepped in is actually trying to keep the tradition alive. That's like, a lot of guys want to come in and put their own spin and on culture and don't realize what was before them. But it's like, this is like the Indianapolis pedigree and powerhouse of football. Like, if you think of football, there's only a few schools you think of, and this is definitely the one of them.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I was repping so hard for when Max Preps dropped that ranking and showed us being like top 10 in the nation in high school football in the last 15, 16 years out of all the high schools in the country. Like, I thought there was like 3,000 schools. There's like 20,000 schools, and we're considered like one of the top 10 football programs in the country. That is insane to me to think about. Like, come on now. You and I are a part of that history and legacy. And so I'm glad Coach West has brought back guys and brought back certain aspects and traditions that were made so popular by players and stuff like that. And there's something I'm going to do for the team next week, and I'm not going to announce it on here until I actually do it for them. But once I do it, and once I have a video posted so people can actually see, because guys like you will understand the significance of this once you see it. And you're like, man, see, that's what we're missing. Okay.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I was going, try to get hold of some WC brass to get some footage. I think one of the best parts about our program is we actually highlighted each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we highlighted our best players. We wanted our team and program to feel like family. So you don't need to go out in the city and look for the paper to get that acknowledgement. You can step in the building. We'll have videos and posters and everything you need to just let you know this is home for you. And I don't think any other school in the city really does that for their players or their program. It's like we highlight ourselves better than anyone else. And I actually got to thank one of my favorite coaches ever in all my years of football, and that's probably Coach Wright. He kind of gave Warren Central that identity to, embrace who you are. Yes, the East Side. Yes, rough. Yes, tough. But they're not going to outclass us. They're not going to, outwork us. We're going to be in this to win it. And
absolutely.
When did he come in? 01, and that's when it changed.
Either 2000 or 2001, and I look forward to speaking with him directly. Like I in my mind, like I can do a radio call like this with him, but in my mind, what I really want to do is go down to IMG down in Bradenton, Florida, and interview him personally, right there in either his house, his office, somewhere where it can be a full open discussion.
Setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that, I mean,
might be onto something there.
Well, and I appreciate that. I just think that would be the best way to show him the respect that he rightfully deserves. Because if it were not for him coming over here and him establishing the staff,
his family,
his
family,
stuff like that over here, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. We would still probably be like a 2 state championship winning program, and like the lives that were changed because of him is just so great. So that's one thing I want to plan to do within the next couple of months to really get that going, because I feel like the podcast show is really going to take off and deliver a lot of great things. Like I was just speaking to one of former coaches, Bruce Dunston. I don't know if you remember Bruce. But
I remember Bruce.
Yeah, I know you played with his son Ryan.
Yeah.
And he was saying to me he loves the show and where we're going with it, and talking about the old history and stuff like that. Now I know, let's speak up. We're kind of jumping all over the place. Let me ask you this thing: what do you is there a specific game or moment that really made you proud or anything like that from when your playing days?
Definitely, but I didn't play in the game. I was just at the game, and it was one of those things that for me, it kind of changed everything about it. I don't even know if this guy really knows it, but I really became friends with him in college, but he was much older than me for a while. But my freshman year, I guess Josh Bailey was probably the leader that him and my buddy J.O.
Yeah, Josh Bailey.
Shout out to J.O. NIU.
Yeah,
hopefully they do some good stuff this season.
Yeah.
They got a nice offensive line.
Yeah, they he's been doing some great things down there at not NIU, it's NCCU. He's at
NCCU,
North Carolina Central University, HBCU. And but continue.
I think it was regionals, and we were playing. I don't want to do it, I know, because you got some stuff playing. Ooh. We were down in that game like some Peyton Manning type numbers. Like I want to say it was like 28-10, and
something along those lines.
And the morale was shot. I gotta keep it real. The morale was shot, and I think the week before, this is when USC was having a great run.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Wright came in the locker room and he said, when you want to be a championship team, there's going to become a test. And this season has been way too easy for us. This is the test. And the way I saw all those guys respond, I don't even think Ben Davis scored another point that game. No, they scored a field goal because we won by 3. I think it was 28-23. but to see all the way all those guys responded is the definition of Warrior football. Like he gave the Pete Carroll speech. You know, when you're a championship team, you got to rise. What does the inferior team do to an inferior when you bury him? So, you know, it was that was like a growing moment for me, not just as a player, but as a man. And like you say, Coach Wright ushered in that whole wave of swag and, you know, emotional control.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I think you remember that we were down and out in that game.
Oh yeah,
emotions were high. Like
that was my junior year, and I remember that game quite well. For those that do not know, this is 2004 season. We were coming into the game. I believe we were number one team in the state. If we weren't, no, I think we were number three. No, we were number three because Fort Wayne Snyder was number one. They were undefeated, and
they were undefeated.
And I want to say we beat another team that was undefeated. Columbus North, the team that we faced the week after that, was undefeated as well. So we had one loss. I think Ben Davis had like 2 or 3 losses on the season, but we were down. I think it was 27 to like 12.
It was something
or 14
crazy like that.
Yeah, it was something like real weird, or we were down 20 like 12 or something like that at halftime. Then out of halftime, we give up like a kickoff return for a touchdown, and then we don't really we just lock down and make a crazy amount of defense came through so beautifully in that second half. I remember Andre Hatchett, star linebacker. My junior years, he actually got hurt either in this game or the game after that, and he wouldn't play again for the rest of that season. But he came up with an interception. Yes, and then basically stepped right out of bounds, and then like you said, a couple of plays later, there's Dexter Taylor, our star quarterback, who would be Mr. Football the next season, tossing what was like a beautiful pass to Josh Bailey, and Josh just basically walks into the end zone. And that right there just brings the momentum back for us right there. And then I remember, go ahead.
Shout out to those two as well, because a lot of people don't know that's still a state record. Because just leading up to the state of that year, 99. That's what Madden played, 99-yard seam route.
Mm-hmm. Like this crazy. Like the defender, and this is the state championship game we're talking about now. 2 games after that. That's. Like, I just think, man, though, like those games, especially that Ben Davis game, if we had lost that one, like we probably could have still came back in 2005, 2006 and won, but it wouldn't, the legacy of the dynasty would not be the same.
It wouldn't be the dynasty. It's like, that's definitely true. I think history in the football guys is definitely on our side. Those years we had some bounces. We stayed relatively healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, a lot of people say, my senior class dropped the ball. In football, a lot of it's luck and health. We just weren't healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like our number one cornerback that year, James Mayo, was hurt most of the season, but still played.
See, I think what really hurt you guys is just a weird, strange factor. After that 2006 season, you lose both O-line coaches. You lose your running backs coach. You're not running backs coach. You lose your offensive coordinator. You lose your defensive coordinator. You lose your D-line coach as well. And that is a lot of guys that have stepped away from the program. Yes, It is a lot to replace. And I really felt like there's a lot of pressure, and I feel like there was a lot of pressure on you guys to continue that success. Now, granted, this is Warren Central, and every time we step on the field, there's pressure, and you are supposed to excel at taking on that pressure. But, sometimes it just doesn't work for you. And I think that was one of the times where that last game against HSC that we lost here, it just really hurt us a whole lot more. And a lot of guys that's, you see 4 classes before you go out on top. And,
right.
And you want to be that 5th one. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out for you. And
I think for me, it really, I'm not bothered that we didn't win because, like I say, I understood the writing on the wall. There's a lot to replace, like not only just in football, in the school. You know, like a lot of people don't know this is still a school. We're talking about we're not a professional team, so there was a lot of influx going on around the building itself. You know. And with that being said, I just think for me, a lot of people just like, hey, that class of '08 didn't get it done, but you guys were really talented in a lot of different areas. And it's just a test of, you know, people stepping away from the program and different moving parts. So, you know, it is what it is.
And we still had a lot of successful guys on that team. Jewel Hampton ended up having great success at Iowa. Ended up having good success as well at SIU once he transferred. Was a running back with the 49ers. Almost was a part of a Super Bowl winning team. I think that was Super Bowl 47. The one that was in New Orleans that Beyonce shut down the lights in. And
right.
Basically the game Colin Kaepernick, you know, he's heavy in the news right now. Basically to get the Super Bowl, he almost won for them. So he was a part of that team. And I was cheering for them so hard to be that, for them to win that game. Not only because Jewel was in it, but because Ben Davis had a guy on the Ravens roster as well. I wanted us to get that title so much before, and I was like, yes, we got a guy that won Super Bowl. But you know what?
Right.
We got some players in the NFL right now and coming down the pipe that are, you know, they can have that chance and opportunity. So hopefully, matter of fact, we got a guy on the Niners right now on Sheldon Day. So hopefully they are having they will have a good season this year. And the success will come from that. So, but you know, it's funny you bring up Josh Betty. Josh just messaged me. He's going to be at next week's game, and I
nice,
man. Hey, anytime I could be around that guy and that atmosphere is going to be crazy. Once again, folks, September 14th. Okay, September 14th. If you have to ask who Warren is playing September 14th, then you if you know, you know. Okay, if you know, you know.
I think it's time I make my return to campus. It's been about a good 7 long years.
Yes.
I haven't been to campus in a while. It might be time I return.
A lot of people have messaged me and said that they're coming back. They haven't been able to come back in a while. My buddy Sadell Moss is coming back from Arizona. Coach Massey's coming back from Columbus, Ohio. So we got guys that haven't been around the program in so long that, you know what, I'm coming back for this game. I'm coming back for this game to see this team play. And that is what I love. I can't get everybody to come to every game. But for games like this, I put in all my effort to get people to come to games like this. Like I really do wish this could be like homecoming night. Like seriously.
Man. It's a homecoming this Friday, right?
Yes, homecoming is this Friday against LC. And
LC. That's still going to be a good game. At least it's not, you know, the Terre Hautes of the past.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what I can respect about the program. It's like, you know what? It's cool. We're going to keep Indianapolis on lock. We're just going to destroy another Indianapolis team on homecoming, you know, save ourselves a 2-hour bus trip.
Huh. Yeah, Lord knows we are so glad we don't have to make those bus trips anymore.
Man.
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing how y'all keeping up with everything in the program. Like I say, the best part for me is coming back, or when I do make my return, just visiting with guys, catching up, seeing how we grew. You know, people got wives and kids, and you know the jokesters of the locker room, how they calm down. It's like a beautiful thing, and that's what makes our program, I think, different from a lot, because a lot of guys still, you know, interact with each other just outside, you know, just like, you know, me and you, for example, we got some businesses tied up in the podcasting game and other different things, but that's all sparred from, you know, just being, like they say, the Warrior way, as Mr. Pitt would say.
Exactly. Like I said to the team when I spoke to them back in July, like the people that you are with right now, the guys that you're going on this journey with for 4 or 5 months to, you know, reach that ultimate goal. This is your family. This is your brothers. You're not going and spending hours away from your family every day for nothing. You're going to go spend hours away with people that you love being around with, that you're going to create a bond with that literally lasts a lifetime. Like you and I still talk on a regular basis. And matter of fact, and you've been very helpful with me coming up with ideas for the podcast, and I thank you for that. Tell everybody.
It's all love.
Let's switch sides here before I let you go because we run along here, but it's great. Anytime I can talk to somebody with knowledge like this about the program and stuff like that, then I always enjoy it. Tell the people about your podcast and what you talk about and what's the name of it and how they can find it.
Now, my podcast is called Dominating Impulse, and it's a fairly simple concept. A lot of people enjoy TVs and movies and gaming mediums, a lot of that so pop culture these days. So what I did was I created a way to explain that to people. Like I kind of got annoyed with people saying this movie is good or that movie is bad, and I'm like, okay, well, let's break it down so you really understand it. And that's mostly what we do. We just have candid discussions about basically everything, parenting, movies, whatever the hot buttons and the hot takes of the week.
Okay.
I actually let you mention, I got a couple Warrior teammates who are about to make some appearances to talk about some things that are not necessarily sports related. So it's just like it goes to show how when you grow from within your family, everybody has talents.
Yeah, that is good. And there was an episode that I listened to of your show where you were talking about DC. Of course, you and I we're big DC fans, and we go back and forth with the Marvel fanboys all the time, and how we feel like DC is superior. But we're not going to go back into that. But you do some great things with your show. It's a lot of knowledge and in-depth looking into things like that you really go back and forth with. Like you said, you talk about the latest Power episode. You'll talk about the latest Marvel movie, Infinity War, and stuff like that. And you bring a great insight and look into that, what I think as a young African-American male like yourself, it's always great to see people being able to branch out and do stuff like that. So I want to thank you for doing that and having that medium be out there for people.
I appreciate it, brother. And you just don't know. You inspire me just as much as I like to think I inspire you or others. It's all about creating, and like we focus so much on the negative in the medium and the news, but you're in the podcast business now, so I know you take it seriously just like I do. People only listen to our information, or some people do, like they take it as a gold. Well, Corey said this on his show, or Derek said this on this show, so
yeah.
We have a responsibility now.
Exactly. And, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, we have a responsibility, so it's just like we can't put out, stuff that isn't going to benefit everybody, or at least give people another reason or another perspective to think about. Absolutely.
Like we used to have lethal weapons on the board in the locker rooms, and people. I'm once again, I'm stepping forward here a little bit. I can't wait till I can actually. And I may have to wait till the season is over with, because it's going to be a little bit easier for me to break down certain history aspects when I'm not having to insert stuff that happened in the previous week's game, which is fine. But I think once I step out of that, once the season is over and we're victorious, like I know we're going to be, then I'll be able to talk about these things more. But lethal weapons, for people that don't know, are there were 10 signs in our locker room. And each sign had a different motto or creed to go by. And lethal weapon number 7, iron sharpens iron. All right. That means tough things. If you want to be the best, you have to go up against the best. And that's what I feel like we did a lot. And that's what you and I have really bounced off each other. Like, you consider yourself one of the better podcasts out there. I want to be one of the better podcasts out there. So you and I, we bounce heads and bounce ideas off each other to make each other better.
If we got to feed off each other. But speaking of those lethal weapons, I just think you got to get your mentor on the show. Like, it has to be done.
Yeah.
Like, when I think about certain lethal weapons, as much as I love Coach Wright, Coach Wright is like my guy for life. Coach Tutsy is the person that got me to college. And a lot of people might not agree with his coaching methods, but that's why I got to college. And was able to transition into different media and podcasts and broadcasting, you know, even after my football career, because some of those lethal weapons to this day, like keep your poise. I hear it in my head exactly how he said it 10 years ago. And I'm in certain situations, I might lose my cool, but you get kicked out of this game, you're not going to play the next game, except we're not playing football anymore. It's real life and police. And so it's like, you know, these things we were taught in our program actually matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's probably going to be the first former head coach, but because I am so close with him, and of course he lives so close to me. I know that kind of irks my wife at times, but it is what it is.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, but hey, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Derek Smith, ladies and gentlemen, once again, and this podcast is called Dominating Impulse, and you're on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Music, I believe, or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, YouTube. We're everywhere, man. I appreciate you for having me.
Oh, I appreciate you once again, man. Thank you. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I will be back with one final segment, and that will be all for today's podcast episode.
All right, and now we return back to True Warrior Football Podcast.
All right, I want to thank Derek once again for coming on to the show. It's always great when I can have former players come on, and a lot of other former players I have lined up for you guys. I know he's one that a lot of people probably may not know of. He's not a guy that, you know, went on to play big-time college football. He's not a guy that made it to the next level in playing in the pros, but he's a guy that came through the program that went through the same things our current players are going through right now, strapped on the same pads, strapped on the same jersey, wore the colors with pride. And that's all I look for with these guys currently right now. And he's doing great things in his life. And, you know, and I'm very appreciative of all the help that he's given me with this show to make it the best show that I possibly can make it. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, homecoming game is tomorrow night. Lawrence Central's coming in. Like I said, I cannot wait for those guys. One of their coaches said they can't wait to come over here, and I tweeted back at him. I said, you know, we welcome you with open arms over here on the east side, far east side. He said, respect, man. He loves his place over here. One of the great atmospheres. Our stadium, it truly does have a great atmosphere, especially on big game days. You know, when whether it's the team that we face next week, the Carmel, LC, or if a team from out of state comes in, you know, we have a great atmosphere on game day that's just so hard to replicate anywhere else in my eyes. That's my biased opinion. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you once again for listening to the podcast. Once again, I am your host, Corey Kid Smith. You're listening to True Warrior Football. Warrior Band, take us away.